Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to another episode of Bravo. We're black and a little white. And I love this week because last week we broke down Real Housewives of Rhode Island, the reunion part 2. And it was so much fun and there was so much to talk about that I was like, you know what? This week, even though I was mad when I realized at 8 p.m. on the 4th of July weekend, by the way, not the 4th of July, that there was no new Atlanta on. So I said, you know what? We didn't get to talk to Atlanta, so let me bring Ryan over here to do Bravo, We're Black. Ryan, how the heck are you?
I'm good. I'm hanging in there. I didn't realize I went to watch Atlanta yesterday and thought I screwed up, thought my DVR screwed up or I screwed up because I thought they actually did air a Sunday episode. So I was pissed. And then I went to Peacock and I was like, oh, I don't get the episodes on Peacock anymore. And I didn't realize they just didn't air the episode. And then I was kind of pissed because they still aired Love Island. Why didn't they air Atlanta?
I don't get it. And I'm not sure, like, is it every July 4th weekend that they don't do it? Like, this was a very, like, weird 4th of July weekend. I don't know if it happened around you, but, like, on Friday, people were just, like, some places were closed. Like, it was functioning as a holiday. And I'm like, wait, the holiday wasn't until Saturday. So
Yeah.
why are we having a 3-day weekend? It all of a sudden turned into a 3-day weekend.
Well, don't screw it up for people. I mean, people should be able to have a 3-day weekend.
Well, I think that they should, but they should announce it. Like, I didn't know that's what we were doing.
Oh,
If I knew that's what we were doing, that we were shutting down operations.
You don't have a regular job. You don't have a
I don't.
We're podcasters, so they
Exactly.
don't give out like bulletins for podcasters at all.
Yeah, because someone was like, "Oh, you can't call there because they're closing early." I'm like, "Closing early for what? The 4th of July? 4th of July is Saturday. So what are we doing?" Like, I'm not mad about it. I want people to and kids to get like as many days off as they can, but just let a nigga know. Like, I am trying to go to Wells Fargo. I'm trying to go pick up my prescription, and like people are either not open or they close early. So it was crazy. But regardless, we're going to talk about the Scotland trip, the first part. Well, is it the first? Yeah, the first part, really. And then
kind of, yeah.
First full part. Like, and then we're going to go into just whatever we feel like talking about. You know how we do over here. We keep it loose.
Yeah.
Summer House is over. Love Island is in that boring stretch. Yes, I still will be doing the live chats all the way through. So make sure you show up to the live chats and let me know if you want to participate. And I want to thank you guys. Like, I have had like a solid group show up every single day. And I'm going to miss you guys when that's over. But we are in that home stretch of Love Island where
Are you going to do Big Brother?
Boring. I have never seen Big Brother, so that's what the next, everyone watch together thing is. Are you doing Big Brother, or are you going to do like a Patreon thing?
No, I'm not gonna. I tried to get into it last. I love the fan base. Seems awesome. Like, all kidding aside, it's just that I tried to get into it last year, and I think Love Island was happening around the same time, and I kept up with it for 2 weeks, and for some reason, I don't know where it lost me, and maybe it just got too busy, but it's really hard unless you're a passion. I think that's the challenge with any of these shows, even Bravo shows, is getting new people into it.
Yeah, for sure. But I know a lot of people that watch Big Brother a lot, and then also there is on Threads, people are talking about it. So I'm like, I don't want to be left out now.
I'm a huge Survivor fan, and they have Rick Devens and what's her name? They have 2 legendary players coming to Big Brother. And I'm really, Rick Devens, I especially love. So I was like, damn, I just want to see what he does in the Big Brother house. Because I had Taylor Hale on last year, who won Big Brother.
Shout out Taylor.
And she was able to like kind of really explain it. And so like, I really appreciate the fandom, but it's like people catching up with Love Island USA. You feel like you don't know a lot of just basic information.
Right. Because I don't even understand what it is, like how the votes go, what challenges are they doing. you know?
And then you
I
got like head of household, and then you have, and it seems like a psychological game of torture. And then you also have to keep up with the feeds
the
because there
live
used to,
feed.
yeah, there used to be like 24-hour feeds, and I think that's like kind of whittled its way down. So I mean, there's a lot of it. There's a lot to be excited. I watched the first season of Big Brother. I mean, this got to be 20 plus years ago now, way long ago, and I think I liked it at the time. I'm not sure why I didn't keep up with it.
You probably just got into a bunch of other stuff where you're like, oh, this is pretty consistent. Because I don't think
Yeah.
I've had, other than my actual soap opera, Young and the Restless, Bold and Beautiful, Beyond the Gates. Shout out to you guys. I love you, baby. But other than that, like I've never had a show that literally came on 6 out of 7 days of the week. And even with the soap operas, it's, you're not voting for what the next storyline is going to be. Like you have to be paying attention, and there's a prize and everything. So it's pretty
Well, that's
dope.
right. I mean, Love Island USA, that's the thing. It's like $100,000 prize. You probably split it with your partner. At this point, get out of there, man. You're already going to get brand deals that are going to be worth way more than that. I mean, $100,000 to us would be pretty awesome, but to them,
Hell yeah.
it's like a drop in the bucket of the money that these kids are going to be getting. They're all going to be over like 1 million Instagram followers by the end of this. And I was just cracking up, like, think how long we were like begging people to follow Sierra to get her to 1 million. Come on, let's get her to 1 million. And then in 3 weeks, these kids get to 1 million.
Pissed me clean off, even though I'm so glad Trinity was the first one to hit
Yes.
1 million. So I'm like, if anyone deserves it, of course, Trinity, Anaya, like, please. But the fact that we were literally like, okay, it's kind of insulting that Sierra doesn't have 1 million yet, goes on Love Island, and these Trinity is the first to hit 1 million. And I want to shout out also, like when we first were getting to know the cast, I did like me, Kendrick of I Cannot, Raven of Bitches Better, and my co-host Aaron, we all like looked at their followers, we looked at their Instagram. They were all like, except Bryce, were really modest. Like they were under
Yeah.
50K, all of them,
Yeah.
basically. So shout out to them. I'm so excited, and I'm excited to wrap this up. And so let me know, chat. Like, are you guys watching Big Brother? If so, do you want me to like tap in? Because I feel like I've done so much like at a certain point I was doing day-to-day coverage on Summer House, even though Summer House is a once a week show. And then I was doing
there was always
day-to-day
something
coverage on
popping
Love
up.
Island.
There was always something popping up on the outside with Summer House, and I was just talking about that on today's pod. Was I knew there was going to be this natural kind of like exhale, like, okay, we're really kind of done at Summer House, and then
Right.
you have to kind of stabilize and come back to earth and readjust and think like, what am I interested in now? I've been talking about this passionately for like a month and a half, 2 months, and now we've got to go back to like, okay, what was I talking about before? Or like, what shows can I get passionate about before? And also in terms of covering Big Brother, I sometimes feel with shows like that, it's hard. Like, I feel like an interloper where you're like, there's way better people that have been on the
Yep.
Big Brother. Like, I think, doesn't Donnie really get into Big Brother
Yes.
and
Yeah,
Tom
and
Hamlet and like,
yes.
there's a bunch of people like that where you're like, God, I hope they, because those are the people that I think like they know what they're talking about. Like for me, it would
Right.
just be like, hey, this is just kind of my vibes that I'm getting,
Yep.
which
And
sometimes
I don't.
pisses a fan base off.
Right. That's the thing. It's like I don't want to be one of those people who just come and all of a sudden start covering it and have all these opinions. And
Yeah.
it's not that I'm worried about having the wrong opinion, but I don't want it to seem like, oh, look at her. She doesn't even know the rules. It's her first time even watching it, and she has all these like opinions.
Well,
And
it's
this is
like
not how
it's
it
like when
goes.
Nick Vile started watching Vanderpump during Scandal. He was like,
God,
okay, like, hey,
that
okay. And he didn't really know the history or something like that. So, it didn't matter. It didn't stop him at all. But I think,
right.
most normal people would be like, well, I don't really know what I'm talking about. So I'm just fumbling around blindly in the dark, which I think, some people are more comfortable to do with that than others.
So then I wonder, okay, so what would be after Big Brother? Because it would be Dancing with the Stars, but that's only once a week or twice a week sometimes.
Yeah, but I mean, they
too.
did, I think, once a week last season, but sometimes it's twice a week
Sometimes
because they would have a
twice.
results show. But I think
Yeah.
they didn't do that last season.
I know for sure that I'll be doing Dancing with the Stars. You and Rebecca did
Yeah,
hilarious
it was
Dancing
so
with the Stars.
that was our first. I mean, listen, we said it was our first season, but we got sucked into it and we really looked forward to it every week. And I was just like, this just shows that we're getting old, because that used to be my parents' show. And I made fun of my parents for that. And then we found ourselves getting swept away in the majesty.
That was a really good tango.
We were like, yeah, we don't know anything about dance. And we were like, that, oh my God, did you see
Did you
how
see
he was
that
hitting
lift?
those? Yeah, I acted like I knew what I was talking about.
I really enjoyed that, and I also got to know Rebecca more, and like
Yeah,
you guys
she's
having
hysterical,
chemistry
actually.
and stuff. Yeah, so I love that. So you'll be covering it, I'll be covering it. Stay tuned on the Big Brother train. I don't know, especially since we're friends with Donnie and Tom and Kendrick and so many people that watch this show. I feel like we wouldn't be going in blindly. We'd be in great hands if we do decide covering it. But what I really want to talk about before we get into anything else is literally the Atlanta. Angela got herself into some trouble, and
Yeah, I
I
was sad
feel
about
like
that.
this is even though it was annoying for me and for you and for so many Atlanta fans, were like, where the hell is Real Housewives of Atlanta? This was a great week for her to cool off, because people were really like on her ass about what she did the last episode. But
Yeah.
now it's been, you know how people are like,
People forget. People move
people
on.
forget, yeah. And then when it comes back, as long as she doesn't hold on to it, she has a chance of bouncing back. Because, I mean, let's be honest. Obviously, people love Angela, but if we watch this episode, she basically accuses Shamia, aka Shahoa, now she's named her, of sleeping with a guy named George, which I guess is one of those, like, I don't want to say ambulance chasers, but kind of like what is a Sweet James kind of figure, apparently.
Yeah, and he donated money to one of her causes, right?
Yes, donated money to a charity for her, but in Angela's word, he said that she looked so good that he had to pay her. So it kind of gave the intention that this man was paying for, you know what?
Yeah.
For
Oh,
sex with
wait, are you
Shamia.
not allowed to say sex on your show?
No, I usually say fucking. I'm just trying to behave in
Say
case we have
making love. Making love.
making love. Okay. Um, and so she basically accuses her of that, and it comes across as she got this information from his wife. Basically, she was like, "Did you fuck George?" And Shamia's like, "Well, what the fuck is this?" Because she had already talked about her sleeping with the Hawks, the Falcons, any ATL team name, you know it. Like, that's who Shamia's apparently hunching. So then Shamia goes into her room and she calls George's wife. And George's wife is like, I didn't say any of those things. She sends like a bunch of texts saying that Angela came to her for tea on Shamia. The woman's name is Ashley. Ashley says that she didn't give her the tea and there was no tea because she wanted to stay neutral. So then we get back to Angela, who calls Ashley in front of the ladies, and it really made her look bad because not
Yeah,
only
because
did
she
it
was like,
confirm.
I didn't say you said it. I didn't say you said it. I said it. And I'm like, damn, Angela, you're too smart and you're too funny to get caught up in these stupid. And she tried to be like, that's what I meant. You guys took it that way. That's on you. And it was such a blunder. And I felt so sad for her in that moment, even though, because everybody's looking for a way to take you down on any of these shows. They're reality competition series at this point, and you can't make stupid mistakes like that. You know, it's like, because you have so many other things that you can make fun of Shamia for, that if you do not have information that this lady is definitely sleeping with this married man, then don't do it. It is not worth it. You have better things in your arsenal. I mean, we've seen Angela pull things out of thin air. Like you can make up what's she wearing, what's her hair doing, what's all of that.
Right.
You can make fun of so many things, and I felt sad because now this will be used against her for the rest of the season.
I also don't like it. Like you said, like she is playing on another level. Like she's really good at just coming out with stuff on the spot, and it makes Shamia, because she also, sorry, Shamia, gives people a lot to work with. That is like, you can just do any, like, you are the perfect target. But since she is the perfect target, that means that you shouldn't have to make up things about her. And also, the lady on Ashley basically was like, "Yeah, I told you. You asked me. I told you I didn't know anything about her, and that was pretty much it. So it confirmed that she was trying to dig up dirt on Shamia, and also confirms that she lied about Ashley saying anything about Shamia. So it's like you're on the twofold now. And I think that there's also this part where even if she knows that it's true, or she feels that it's true, or she heard that it's true, it's kind of like you started off this season telling people, if you heard anything about my husband, no, you didn't. I don't care. If he's cheating, like, don't tell me anything about it. So it's like you in your marriage, people like to pick at a lot because we know that he has had a past of being unfaithful. So for you to say this about Shamia and it not even be a tangible
I think
thing.
you get caught up. I think you get caught up. You're in that moment. You know, you're in this charged environment, and I'm not making excuses for her, but I think
Trying to see,
obviously,
where she's coming
well,
from.
well, they had that scene where she was calling Angela Bigfoot and all that whole thing. So Angela's ready to pounce, and I just think it's a bummer. I think she's just too smart to have got caught up in something so dumb, and I thought it was just a bad look. And I'm gonna blame it on the time difference. I'm gonna blame it on jet lag. I will blame it on being in a different place, in a different location, and that we'll
She
just chalk it
maybe
up to
felt
that.
like she was on Traders. She was starting the game early, possibly. Like, that's what I would say, honestly, because we know that the girls are in Scotland for Traders. It's hilarious. Phaedra talks about it, and they even flash back to how amazing she was on Traders, between being hilarious and the alliances she made, and just her epic moments. And then they say, Portia was also on there, and Phaedra was like, yes, but not as
Yeah.
long. And it's just a funny thing that frickin' Frack has in common. They show them coming up to the castle, and something that completely slipped my mind until it was brought, and I talked about this with Kendrick too, that night when they showed it last Sunday, it completely skipped my mind that K. Michelle and Idris Elba were in a relationship, so much so that she, like, wrote an album about him, Anyone Wanna Buy a Heart, in, like, 2014, and I'm like, on earth do I talk about
Wait,
everything that K. Michelle
wait, wait,
has
wait, wait,
been
wait, wait,
through?
wait, 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 wait. K. Michelle was in a relationship with Idris Elba?
Which is why they asked, "Hey, doesn't he look like Idris Elba?"
But
And
I
she's
didn't
like,
think that was
"No."
because they dated. I just thought that was like because everybody has the hots for Idris Elba.
No, it's particularly because they dated in 2014, and it was
Oh my
just such
God.
a random, like, pairing, and the reason that she didn't want it to be public is because he was British and he dressed different, so she
She
didn't
didn't
have
want
it,
it to
like,
be
be.
public. If I was
Yeah,
a
no, she
gay
didn't.
man and I was dating Idris Elba, I'd make that would be my whole personality. Also,
Exactly.
you like watching new things. Have you ever watched The Wire? That's the
No, I
show.
have
That's the
not.
show that like made Idris Elba. He is so fantastic, and I think he plays a guy named Stringer Bell, and he's so
Mhm.
damn fantastic that I didn't even know he was British. I did. It took me for the longest
Yes.
time. But The Wire, it's one of those shows you. It's unfortunately you cannot be on your phone while you watch The Wire. It's too dense,
Love
but
that.
it is so good. And each season focuses on like a different aspect. I don't know. It's just I should revisit that sometime. But he in particular is so damn good on that show.
Well, it's one of the best shows of all time, like,
Yeah.
ranked, I believe. It's The Wire, it's Sopranos, it's Game of Thrones, it's Walk I don't know if it's Walking Dead. I know that those 3 are on top for people
Yeah.
in general, when HBO was just really, like, just the home of these kind of shows. But yeah, they were dating, and she didn't want it public because he was British and he dressed different than the kind of guys that she used to date. He talked different than the kind of guys that she used to date, but she was very in love with him. It did come out, and she did make that album, Anybody Want to Buy a Heart. She dedicated the song, like, to him, and it was, like, known. And I was like, how could I forget that she did it, Idris Elba? And then on top of that, he didn't want to commit. So it's so crazy how we could have had, well, he has a very beautiful wife, Sabrina Elba, who has been, like, amazing in sharing Idris with us. So she'll post Idris and be like, here's our husband. And I'm just like, thank you, girl. But
And
it's just
now
so
he's
crazy.
like Kyle Cook. He's a DJ actually. He's a
He
DJ.
is.
He played Coachella a couple years ago. He's actually, he gets a lot of work as a DJ.
Yeah, and he's really into it because he had a whole Netflix show about him being a DJ,
Yeah.
which was something that only I watched, and it felt like a fever dream until I looked it up again because people were telling me that I was crazy. But yeah, like it's crazy that K Michelle dated Idris Elba, and I thought that was a fun little nod to that, and I hope
God, now I
that
know that K
Andy
Michelle is
brings
full.
that up.
K Michelle is full crazy. Like I knew she was a little crazy, but now like the way you do not claim Idris Elba is like crazy to me. Because he speaks a little different. Like K Michelle speaks a little different too. We all speak a little different.
He dresses different. No, like it's back when she was really on like Love and Hip Hop, and she was stuck in that box of being like an R&B girl or whatever. And you're used to dating like rappers or whatever, Memphis, all these producers, like all these different people that you usually date. And you're in Atlanta, and you're in the South, and you're dating some random British guy,
but nobody to be ashamed of. My God, like a random.
It wasn't like a shame.
If you were dating like
weird.
Austin Powers, maybe be a little embarrassed because of the teeth and stuff. But this is a very good looking, this man almost. He came allegedly very close to being the first black James Bond. I think the rumors were about like 6 or 7 years ago. And I think he even said he's probably aged out of it by now. And I think they're trying to get a younger James Bond. But, for a time, I was like, yeah, I could see that. Like he's that debonair and good looking,
suave.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's always been like that to me because I didn't know that he was British either, but I know him as Idris Elba from the Tyler Perry movies, Daddy's Little Girls. Like that's his most famous role for me personally, and also obsessed with Beyonce. So I'm like, oh, the guy.
I've seen
Everyone's
Obsessed.
like, oh, the guy from The Wire.
But you know what? I bet more people have seen those Tyler Perry movies than have seen The Wire. 100%.
I believe you for sure. So then when I saw him speaking like that, I'm like, I think he was one of the first black actors that I found out was actually British. And that really like changed my life for a few years there because I'm just like, there's a whole like debate within the community whether these British black or like Nigerian British actors should be playing the roles of black actors, especially when some of them kind of look down on us in American cultures. But it's not Idris. He never said anything like that. He recently also got knighted. So
I didn't know that. And he's on a Apple TV show called Hijack, which I think just had its second season. But I've never watched it. Sophie loves it. But the thing is,
anything
Apple
on
TV,
Apple's slamming.
Yeah, but Apple TV is one of those places where I always joke about, like, I think it's like a front for like a drug operation or to launder money because they have all these amazing shows and then they only advertise like 3 or 4 shows. And then you go on there and you're like, I had no clue this show existed. There's a show I talked about on Monday. I think it's called Trying. And it just started its 5th season this week on Apple TV. Never heard of it. And I'm like, they're on season 5. Never heard of this show.
To piggyback off of that, it's not just that they'll drop a banger of a show. Like these are good shows, by the way. A production out of this world. It's always with like A-listers and shit. And I'm like, you have. Because before it was just like, oh no, people just do blockbusters. That's where the money is. But all these actors are now doing TV shows. And it's like, you have literally Kerry fucking Washington, Kate Moss, and like one other very famous woman on a TV show. And I'm seeing a few interviews about it, maybe talk about it in passing.
They don't
and
care.
I don't find out.
Apple TV's slogan is like, I dare you to find us. I dare you to hear about this show. And then when you hear about the show, you're like, wow, I'm part of this little club. Unless you're talking about like, what are there like Ted Lasso or Severance? Severance or Shrinking. There's like a handful of shows that everybody kind of knows. But other than that, like Widow's Bay, I loved. But even then, now I'm realizing, even though a lot of us screamed how good Widow's Bay was, I'm realizing still so many people don't even know what that show is.
I know what it is. I did not watch it, but I know that it's good, and I heard that it's so good. Yeah. Like right now, my non-reality shows are House of the Dragon, which my God.
Yeah, I just I saw the other day you're a poet. Like, did you turn full nerd? Like, what happened? Because is this because of Who did this to you? What happened? Like all of a
The
sudden you're like talking about manga and Japanese. What happened? What's going on? Are you getting paid by
s-
somebody?
no, well, I wish. I wish that was the case here. I would love a Crunchyroll sponsorship. Um, like I would love that for sure. What happened is like I watch these things and I just usually keep them to myself or I'll talk about it amongst my friends. But I just really love not anime, animated series.
Yeah.
I love, love, love K-dramas, which I haven't brought to the timeline. I like these little nerdy, specifically superhero shows is like my new thing, and superhero movies and shit like that. I love all these different things, but every time I posted about them, I
It
wouldn't get a
doesn't do
reaction
anything.
from
Yeah.
people. It doesn't talk. But then I post about these other things that I love, which is Housewives, which is like all the like just like with the downloading
It
even on
does.
the podcast, if
Yeah.
I'm talking about things that aren't what I usually talk about, it's less downloads, it's less
Yeah, it
impressions. But what I
sucks.
realized
Yes. Yeah.
is that when I got hacked, I went through like a rebirth and I
Oh
realized
boy. Oh
things
no.
and I was
Oh
like
no.
I should just post about like whatever I want
Yeah.
instead of just posting
Well,
about what's going to get me good
oh yeah.
numbers.
Oh yeah. I mean, like, and that's why I talk about this a lot, but just yeah, I don't really if I don't feel funny, if I don't find something funny, I'm not gonna post. Like I used to like force myself to make like a stupid meme and all that. Now, I mean, I think it's been I don't know, been a week since I made a meme, and like that might
You're
sound
good
silly
on
to the
threads
audience.
though.
Oh yeah, on Thread, but see, that's it. That's it too. Is that I think it's so hard for me to split my mind up in like 10 different apps. So it's like if I'm
You
on
gotta
Threads,
start
I'm on
cross
Threads, but
posting.
then I'm not really thinking about Instagram. And then you realize at some point you got to think about your podcast, and it's like
Yep.
pulling your head, like, and then like having Summer House being over with, and like I said, we're all kind of
Mhm.
getting like an equilibrium again.
Rebalancing.
You
Mhm.
notice you're like, oh, downloads are down, but at the same time, what are you going to do? I'm going to talk about what I want to talk about. Like I have a director of this Boy George and Culture Club documentary I did last week that I'm releasing that I'm like, that's for me. Like that's like 80s music that as a kid, and I actually liked the documentary. Or there's this great true crime docuseries called The Fox Hollow Murders that was on Hulu and Disney Plus like a year and a half ago. It blew me away. It was nominated for an Emmy, but they do tomorrow night. There's a new like an update on the case. And I've talked to this
Oh
director a
shit.
couple times, and I have him on tomorrow, this guy, Alex Jablonski. And like true crime isn't my thing, but I watch a lot of true crime. I have my whole life. So I love putting those things in there. But you also realize the audience is pretty much, they're sophisticated, but they're kind of there for like one specific reason, you know?
Yeah, and I realized that there are some like even when I get lower impressions or downloads or whatever it is, I make a friend where I can talk to them about this
Yeah.
show and find this community. So I'm just like, you know what? When my shit got hacked, I'm like, maybe this is just maybe it got hacked for a reason. Like everything has to be for a reason. It's like maybe you gotta be
Yeah.
yourself. Maybe you gotta like tell people what you're watching. Maybe you can add to the conversation.
Oh,
And it's
yeah. I mean,
also something
yes.
different for me, like House of the Dragons particularly, is because we don't get represented in spaces like this ever. Like even when there is like a really good black show, it gets canceled or it doesn't get enough promo or whatever it is. Like I've never seen myself on a dragon and it sounds so stupid. And it like doesn't matter to a lot of people, but like to me it does. Like I've never seen myself in such a high position of or people who look like me. Obviously I'm not on the
Yep.
show. If you guys would like, Ryan, to contact Ryan, he'll give you a call. He's my people. He'll get a good deal. But if you like me to do like a special cameo like Ed Sheeran did on Game of Thrones, that one.
Yeah, Ed Sheeran did a cameo on Game of Thrones.
I can't think about that without laughing because they were so pissed at him for doing it. The
Celebrities
audience
ruin
was like,
everything.
the audience was like, what the fuck is Ed Sheeran? I can't do it. Okay. But like I've never seen myself like speaking this, I don't know, Valyrian language we're in a high position of power. We're on dragons in a fantasy world on an HBO show that also has white people in it, and we're like kind of equal to them. We're not fucking slaves. We're not,
Yeah.
it's just so fun to watch. And even when I posted that clip about why it was important and why it's funny, and I'm doing like recaps on it with Raven, talking about it, like me and her, like we ain't never, because there was this viral thread that was like, if you watched House of the Dragon over the BET Awards, we're reviewing your black card. And then a whole bunch of black people came out and was like, well, review that bitch then or take it, because I sure was watching Game of Thrones because there was niggas on dragons and we ain't never seen that before. So it's literally a bunch
But
of,
isn't
like,
that
of all
funny that
ages.
isn't that funny that any white people out there would think they have ownership of dragons? Like last I checked, dragons don't literally exist and never have. Sorry to burst anybody's bubble, spoiler alert, but they've never. So for anybody to think that they have ownership is like so. I mean, I was about to say mind-boggling, but it's not in this day and age.
It's literally insane because even in the fantasy world, it's like usually the black person has to be blue or green
Oh,
or
like the
blue and
Na'vi, like
green.
from Avatar.
Like Avatar and
Yeah.
Gamora, she's not
Oh
black.
yeah,
So in fantasy, or
they-
yes,
she never gets to be in her own skin. She's always like
at all.
CGI'd.
So it's just so dope. So like the video finds the wrong crowd sometimes. Instagram, it found the right crowd because I have built that up. Even though I did get hacked, so maybe I'm building my trust back too, like trying to show
Wait,
my face, like, hey, this is
the
me.
hacking over?
It's over, and I want to leave it at that. But
Wait,
there
what
has
does that
been
mean? I'm going to leave it at
there's been
that.
like suspicious like shit going on, like restrictions on messaging, and I'm just like, please don't come back, because at this point I'm going to OnlyFans. So like I posted that about why House of the Dragon is important for black people, and it was just me and Raven talking about how cool it was. And then someone on Facebook, of course, was like, a white woman, a white, or is this a man? I can't tell the difference.
Yeah.
Why do you feel the need for attention and recognition? And I'm just like,
But it's
is
also,
what the fuck
bitch,
I'm
why are
talking
you?
about.
You're the one commenting. Why do you need attention and recognition? Like, go fucking live your life. Like everything. And I'm saying this to myself as well. The quicker I realize that life is not only lived online, the better we will all be. When you're like arguing with somebody online, it is such wasted. But I was watching Lindsay get into it with like Queens of Bravo, and I'm just like, can
Oh
we?
my
Like, I
God.
get I get what Lindsay is saying completely, but like, I feel like when we start arguing in that sense, we've already lost in some ways. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
you're not. I don't know. But I completely understood, and it's like I really did sit there and think, like, parasocially, I do get really worked up. Like, I'm not usually overtly mean in the post, except I was kind of mean towards Danny Bucco in a thread last week for the Valley.
Well, you
But I
should
was,
be, because
but I
he's
also was,
fucking
I
ridiculous.
was tired, and I was so pissed that this guy still doesn't seem to get it. Where I'm like, dude, you can shake your hips. Like, nobody cares about you and your stupid hips. It's that they feel that you drink enough where you start grabbing people and making people uncomfortable. There's a big difference. If you want to fucking dance like your lambada or whatever you're doing, do it, but just understand and don't like bitch and moan about it the whole time and ruin other people's times that way. And also, you do seem like a person that can't handle their alcohol. Like, we've seen her multiple times. Doesn't mean he's an alcoholic, but it does mean he doesn't seem to be able to handle his alcohol. And so I was tired, and I wrote, so I was like, shut the fuck up, Danny, because I really was like, shut the fuck up, Danny, you know?
That was just like a nice general thought. Like, you were way nicer than I was. I called him everything but the son of God. So like and he deserved that, because it's like, get your fucking legs off of her.
Well,
like, what are you
I hate when people then
doing?
sit and whine about like acting like they don't understand what people are saying, because then I think it's like a slight towards it, like it's a slight towards Jasmine and her wife. It's like it's a slight where you're like, dipshit. Like, how many times I understand. I didn't even live this situation. What the deal is, and for you to try to make it other things is so weirdly unfair. And you could just learn from it. Everybody's saying it's okay if you drink. And yes, other people seem to drink a lot in that cast as well. But the difference is Brittany is not feeling up men when she drinks on the cast. I mean, she might want to, but she doesn't, right?
Imagine her saying, "Oh, go get mama a drink. Go
Yeah.
get mama a
Oh,
drink."
I'm gonna fill up shorts. I'm gonna fill up shorts. Oh, Luke, come here. I want your deal. Oh.
And he talks about, making people uncomfortable so much, but then you ended up dancing. You've been able you
Yes,
like
and Danny was like, "Look at me, look at me." He's very proud of his body. I'm very happy for him, and it's like a small child. It's like you're dealing with a child at that point. And I don't know. I've tried to have empathy for him and Nia in the past on the Valley, but I think it just kind of I got to a breaking point, and also because it seems like I get that these people, like, with other people in that cast defending them. And it's like, they're never going to understand. We're not going to really truly understand what it's like to be their friends. And they're not going to understand what it's like to be a fan watching this show. And part of watching these shows is that they want us to respond. They want us to get worked up. They want us to take some sort of stand, or that's right and that's wrong. And I don't know. Then it's like weird when then you're dinged for being too parasocial, which, by the way, once it gets to like death threats and calling people out, like, you've gone too far, obviously.
lost the plot completely, like they say on the UK. I did see that thing between I don't know if I clocked that it was Queens of Bravo. I was just like, wait, she's calling out
I mean,
us,
listen, it
like
could be a lot of
Bravo
accounts.
blogs.
It could be a lot of
No,
accounts,
but
but I
it
think it was
specifically is.
Queens
It
of Bravo always
100%
kind
is.
of dings her. And I've seen them go back and forth before where Lindsay's like, why are you always
Yeah.
coming at me, like weeks ago? And so I just kind of filed that away in my memory banks. And then last night when I was like working on the show and I was processing some audio, I was looking and I was like, oh shit, because Queens of Bravo, Lindsay said something and then Queens of Bravo dinged back and was like, listen, I'm trying to promote your show that has horrible overnight ratings. And I was like, damn, you
That
did not
kind
need
of
to go.
ate.
You did
I'm
not need to go,
sorry.
which also, but you're not factoring in streaming. Like, there's a lot of different limits. So I just thought, I was like, oh, that's going to be crazy. And then Lindsay, and I spoke to, I don't know if you're watching In the City, but
I am.
Yvonne.
You know I am.
Yvonne is not Yvonne, but Georgina.
You don't even
I
know
spoke to,
who you
sorry,
fucking spoke
no,
to?
because I keep thinking of Lindsay's friends. I spoke to Georgina, who is one of Lindsay's friends, and her injector, and I spoke to her today, and I read her that quote, and she's like, yeah, I do know. It's which, by the way, I did ask her if she would like to see West on the cast of In the City, or if she'd be okay with having West.
You
And
guys
she
gotta
said,
tune into that. Oh, or
she's
do you
no,
want
I'll,
me to
yeah,
tune into
you
it?
don't have to tune in, but she said
Yes,
she
you
would.
have to tune in,
Well,
but he's gonna
she said
also
she was
tell
actually
us.
very funny. She's like, she has a weird sense of humor, but she said she'd be okay with Wes because she'd like to tell him what she thinks of him to his face. And I was like, okay, I'd be
That's fair.
okay. That's
For
interesting.
that one episode,
For that way,
everyone cuss his ass out and then leave. One episode.
And I said, as somebody that doesn't really know Kyle and Amanda before this, what did you think about their relationship, watching them try to work on it? Like, just from a bystander's opinion, what did you think? She's like, I knew they were done. Like, I knew that was done. I mean,
You
but
can
she's like,
tell by that.
but she was like, good
dinner
for,
too.
good for them for trying. But like, I knew it was done.
that I like that she gave her unfiltered opinion though, because some
Yes, it
people
was
don't
really
want to rock the
refreshing.
boat so much that it's like, do you even have an opinion, or do you just not want to make people mad, or do you want to make people mad so much to get picked up by the headlines? When I feel like those are answers that I feel like someone is being themselves.
And I was nervous because usually I'll have that conversation, and then the Bravo rep that's on with us, you'll get an email of like, you got to
Delete
cut
that
this, you got to
part.
cut
Yeah.
this, you got to cut this. And they only made me cut 2 things. And I was like, thank God.
Hell
Because
yeah.
usually sometimes it'll be a whole list. And you're like, oh man,
Yeah.
there's nothing here anymore,
I love that. I'm gonna listen to that for sure, because she sounds like she's actually giving like her personality and not what she thinks people want to hear. Because honestly, I think if I was her, I'd be like, oh hell no, everyone hates us, and I'm trying to have a new show on. No one wants to see that shit, so no. So for her to just be like, hey, I want to give him a piece of my mind, I think that's iconic. But I also posted that whole House of the Dragon, but to us we shorten it to HOD, or we still call it Game of Thrones. Honestly, some black people, like Kev on Stage, he's a comedian and he calls it Game of Thrones, and we still know what he's talking about, which
Yeah.
is so funny. And someone was like, this guy's named Preston, so Let's guess. He has a dog as his profile picture, but I'm guessing he's not black. He says, has nothing to do with race. Just because some black people are in a big show doesn't mean it's history or anything. There's been a lot of black actors in big movie shows. No point in this vid. So I was just like, wow. It's like when I complain about, when I complain about how I get these kind of comments, people like don't believe me because they're like, they want to think that people understand things or at least would have the decency to shut the fuck up and not comment. But it's like half of the comments are just who cares, but it's not even accurate, blah blah. And I'm like, you can see us in everything but fantasy. Dragons aren't accurate. Like, what are we talking about?
Yeah, I know that we fight about the stupidest things, and I get caught up in it all the time myself. And I really I try not to leave comments, like, or if I do, it's like, it's usually on politics on TikTok. Well, I'll get so worked up. And then you even realize it's pointless because you're commenting on like a farmed clip where it's just like bots clipping like things and like they're trying to get they're trying to get people angry
And
and
you
I'm like,
help the
God,
algorithm.
yeah, but it's also so much. That's the thing that you have to figure out. It's like, it's so much more fun to be excited about something.
Yeah.
And it's almost the deception of reality TV is that we can get really excited about reality TV, but essentially we're getting excited about getting angry because we're really excited to see the new Summer House so we can see what this motherfucker Wes Wilson did this week. Fuck him. And so you're like, I'm really excited, but I'm also really angry. And you're trying to or Love Island. Oh, I hope they're going to do like karaoke tonight, but fuck that dude.
This bitch better go home.
Yeah,
Exactly. Get the fuck out of my house, out of my villa. And then now we're at the part where people are like, it's so boring. Like, when is family night? When are we gonna just wrap this shit up? And I'm like,
oh yeah, I'm ready to
wrap.
wrap it up now too. It's gonna be Trinity and Bryce. Like, come on, it's over. Like at this point, all we're gonna hear, which is kind of fun last night, of like, I guess America doesn't like me, and I love that they just refer to us as America. All like we're just America now. And I think that paranoia is kind of fun. But I was like, I was kind of hoping for another like couple bombshells, which I know we're too late for that.
But they should have, like, after Casa Amor, they should have brought some more bombshells in for sure.
I found myself like my favorite person now was like Jen. I'm like Jen. I'm like, okay,
her and her
Jen.
mole.
I know.
Just Jen. But yeah, so came to show Dangerous Elbow, who was British, and and so that's why they asked her that, and she was like, "Hell no, he don't look like no damn Idris Elba. He's just a African American man." And they're like, African American in Scotland, and it's just another funny K Michelle moment where she was like, "You know what I mean? Like we're the same. Like we're another black man, not Idris Elba though." And we also have, obviously, they are talking about the situation around the table at the end, and it just another thing gets brought up. They're talking about who has been with a woman, and basically all of them have had experiences with women, and
Cynthia's was like a little peck.
Yeah, like, and they referred to the kiss with Cynthia and Portia, which I'm like,
nothing.
Yeah, I don't think that is it doesn't count as an experience, but it went into a part of, well, before everything went left, but it went into a part of like, I like that Drew and Kelly are talking about how when you let a woman into your bed, you could be, opening up a whole another load of problems, especially if you're not actually attracted to women. But we know that Drew actually is, because they do a whole flashback of her and her ex-girlfriend who used to be on Love and Hip Hop too, which is hilarious to me. But what do you call it? Well, she was on Basketball Wives. But so they go, yeah, so I don't know if I should have did that because it made me feel like maybe I'm not enough for my husband. So her and Kelly kind of like bonded over that. And I'm like, this is why y'all can't just be having threesomes. You don't really like girls. Like, I like the concept of threesomes, and I like when I hear about celebrity threesomes, especially every time.
Yeah. But you think about celebrity threesomes and everybody seems to be having in your mind, you're like, everybody's having a good time. Nobody's getting their feelings hurt. Like, come on, man. If I think I've never even come close to having a threesome, and I psychologically would never have been able to handle it. Never. I would have been nervous the whole time. It would have been the biggest clusterfuck ever known to man. But you realize that, I'm not shading the people that are out there having threesomes, but there's like a whole, that's the thing, is that this fallacy where you're like, how's everybody having all this sex and nobody's getting their feelings hurt? And you're like, well, actually, people are getting their feelings hurt. You just don't really hear about them.
Exactly, and they bring that up because that's like the elephant in the room, that everyone wants to be this fun, sexually fluid person or whatever, and they're down with it or whatever, but they don't say the quiet part out loud. Like, you could be opening Pandora's box. You don't know what's gonna happen next. Is that gonna make you insecure, or is that going to make your partner see this person behind their back? Because that multiple people that I know that have done a threesome, like, it did not end well. Basically, their partner ended up with the girl that they had the threesome with, and it's like, are you doing this threesome because you are genuinely interested in women, or are you doing this threesome because you wanna experiment, or are you just doing this threesome to keep your man? And you can't keep a man with a threesome. If
Yeah,
anything,
I mean, the
that's
keeping the man,
getting
that's
him
like this, that's such a bummer,
making him
like,
leave even more. It's and
and a
that's
guy's
why
trying to convince you to like,
Yep,
come on, no, it'll be beautiful. It's like, what are
yep.
you, that's insane.
What
I
the
will say
fuck are
though,
you talking about?
and this isn't threesomes, but I will say something that gives me hope is like a younger generation are so okay with being like, oh yeah, I'm bisexual. Like even like the
Mhm.
cast of Southern Hospitality, you have Lake, who didn't do good at the reunion, but I love that she was like, oh, I'm bisexual. Like she was very open with being fluid and stuff. And I think that's really to be applauded in some ways because I came from a time where that wasn't always the case. It was like I watched close friends come out of the closet and it being one of the hardest things that they've ever had to do in their life. That they weren't, that they truly a time when people were still scared
Yeah.
to be gay or lesbian.
Yeah, and although, like, it has improved so much, there are people right now who haven't come out and they're scared. So
Yeah, yeah.
hopefully it just gets, like, normalized, and it's great to
But I think
see, and
that's
it's
what TV
also
but that's
yeah.
representation. It's like a black person on a dragon. It's like
Yep.
the more people can see that there are normal lives being led by
Mhm.
people that might not share the same sexual preference as you, it not only helps people that actually have that sexual preference and are trying to figure out the complications in their mind, or people that are going like, that's the thing was that, you
Yeah.
know, I luckily grew up in a household where that was never a thing. Like my parents welcomed everybody. And so, maybe if they were like horrible people that didn't, I would have grown up as a horrible person that didn't accept anybody. But you always have to have somebody that shows you the way, you know?
Exactly. Like, I also like that, not just mostly all the women have had experiences with it, but they were open to talking about it. And Portia even comes out as a straight up lesbian now. She's like, I'm gay gay.
Yeah.
Like, I went
Yeah.
down like the
Yeah.
the two different roads, and now I went through gay, and I just made a right, and it was hilarious. And but then, they talk about Shamia and Portia saying allegedly that Shamia's threesome was with Candy. Now, do you believe that Shamia and Candy had a threesome?
I will say, I,
Yes or
I,
no?
yeah, I do believe it.
Me too.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I feel like that's the least shocking thing that you can say to me.
I think Candy gets down, and not in a way where like what Phaedra accused her of, but I think she's probably. I think I would love to know her rap, like how she lays it on thick. Like when she's like, "Nah, we're having a good time here," and I just have a feeling it's a side where you're like, yeah, I'll do anything you want. Like I just feel like she's one of those people that makes you feel super comfortable,
Yep.
and I don't know. I do believe it, and I don't believe it in a lascivious, dangerous way. I just believe like, hey, we're having a good time here. Like,
Mm,
oh, all of a sudden I'm touching
because we
Todd's
know
dick.
it's just hard, like, not in that way. It's just hard to not believe it because we know that Shami and Candy are very, very close, and we know that Candy and Todd are the freaks. Like, it's
Yeah.
Candy and Todd, and it's Ti and Tiny. Like, we know openly that
Fucking
they are
Ti.
freaks,
Yeah, yeah.
basically. So, like, it made sense. But like, they kind of have this tense moment there that will obviously lead to things next week. But they also like show another great moment that I loved was Kelly and Drew also being able to talk about, going through a divorce, and Portia taking on leader of the group because I feel like up until this moment, it doesn't feel, even though she is the Nene figure of the group, like she's
I know what
arguably
you're
the
saying.
star, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Okay. So I never saw her in that kind of leadership role, which she assumed when they were all talking about, going through divorces and stuff like that, where she's like, we're gonna be okay. As long as I have Pilar, it doesn't matter where home is. And that's so interesting because this is during the time when it was like article after article after article about her and Simon and the divorce and what she gets. So it was great to see her like reassure the women who are going through hard times themselves.
Yeah. I mean, I think Portia has a little bit of a different situation because she is, she is making good money on her own, like I think it's sometimes easier to come from that place when you are a little bit safer, like I would imagine Kelly has to deal with a lot of what
Hmm.
the hell is my life, like what am I
Yep.
going to be doing? Am I going to just be wearing white t-shirts in my confessionals for the rest of my time as a housewife? Like there is, I would imagine, and especially because you're paying a lot of money to be a housewife, to like get all the glam, get all the looks. We see that Drew has like a staff of like 80, that she's paying. I mean, there's a lot of shit that comes with this. And I just imagine there's a lot of pressure associated with it as well. I was reading some rumor, I don't know where this was the other day, but it was saying that, and I don't know if this is true, that the ratings for Atlanta aren't good and that Bravo is looking to make some big changes again on Atlanta. And I just think that's a damn shame if that's true, because I think there's something really good with this cast.
Yeah, let me know. Like, let me know where that source was from because I didn't necessarily see it. And I can't really imagine it because I've also been seeing a lot of people talk about this season. And even when a lot of people don't talk about a season, I see that Andy, and I know obviously Andy isn't Bravo, but like when Andy loves something, like it sticks around regardless,
Yeah,
regardless of
Andy really likes K Michelle. I
like,
also, did you
yep.
see that? I saw it on an Instagram post Pinky did. I don't know if it was a podcast or something like
Yes,
that.
and said that she went on to promote her brand.
Yeah. But I like, you know what? It's so funny. I like that she thought that was like a novel concept. I'm like, that's what everybody does. Everybody's on there to
Like
promote some sort of
and we
brand.
know
Like, are
that.
you kidding me? Everybody does that.
Exactly, and we know that. Like, but I love seeing the women, especially in the messiness, come together this way. And obviously, there were just so many funny, random lines throughout the entire episode that I'm just like, all right, now let's get to the good stuff because I want to know what goes down in Scotland. So I'll definitely be on So Bad It's Good to chat
Yeah.
that. Is there anything
Yeah.
else that like you really liked or piqued your interest from the latest episode?
No, I didn't count on the emotional conversation about sexuality and divorce. Like I thought that was actually a nice touch because for some reason in my head I had Scotland is going to be a completely wacky, like just a hysterical romp, and
Mhm.
I didn't count on the emotional conversation with everybody opening up and stuff, which was actually really nice. It was a nice surprise. So I'm curious because I think, we're getting towards the end of the season. So
Mhm.
I'm curious what the last driving force will be of like what's going to get us to the finish line.
Hell yeah. Like you wanted to shorten the season, I wanted to say, but I did not.
Well,
I
just
would
because I
never want to
enjoyed
shorten.
I enjoyed the Rhode Island shortened season when I think about it, because I was like, it
But
was
it was
just
their
enough.
first season. Like they just
Yeah.
came out. And also Jersey also doesn't have like long seasons. So I'm like, if it makes sense if you're like, hey, we need to shorten Beverly Hills. Hell yeah. Cause I think
Yeah,
that
yeah,
there's not a lot there.
let's just do a 4-episode limited series for Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
Every few years. Every few years. Not even
Yeah.
once a year either.
Can
But
somebody
yes.
hire Kyle for like a great acting role so she's not available to film Beverly Hills this season? Sorry,
Oh
Kyle.
my God. Put her in another like
Kyle,
Christmas Housewives
Kyle,
Christmas.
Kyle's on a dragon.
She's
What's
in one of the
going
high
on? Oh,
towers.
Morgan, do you see me on this dragon, Morgan? Yeah.
Put her on Love Island, do a split. Like
Yeah,
her and Kinsey. Someone
she walks
literally
so Kinsey could
posted.
run. Yeah.
Yeah, someone posted the Kyle dancing into a split, swinging the ponytail. Then they put she was pregnant with Kinsey here, and I'm like, I love that. So, like, the only time I'll say I love that.
Oh,
Like,
well,
fuck
who
it.
was it that I saw? Was that on Love Island USA was it last night when Trinity talked about the Michael Jackson thing, which somebody was like, "Are they fucking showing the Islanders the memes being made of them?" Because
Yeah,
how did everybody
yeah.
know Corbin GPT?
GPT,
How
yeah.
did I mean, like that's kind of weird if they're
Well,
showing
I
them
think that
the memes.
that is absolutely weird, and I also think that there is a lot of producer interference that we're witnessing, and some of that being the not necessarily gay baiting because I do
I think they're just
Zach,
flat
it
out.
was June.
I
Um,
I was talking to my gay friend. And he's like, "I'm gay, and I've never seen this gay of stuff on TV." You know?
exactly. So, but yeah, so I feel like maybe they are playing it up a little bit, but one is not, and one thinks that it's real. So, I do see producer interference in Love Island. I don't know about a 13 episode season of Atlanta wouldn't feel right to me, especially when we're on such a roll and it feels like we got our stride back. I do
I mean,
think it would
but
be
what
a
I'm saying
go
is
ahead.
it'll be interesting to see what this last section is. If this
Mhm.
last section, if they finish strong, then you're like, oh, hell yeah. But
Then it'd
remember,
be
even
worth it.
Salt Lake City this past season, they had the below deck episodes and it was like,
Mhm.
holy shit. And then they came back and there was like one episode that was really good. And then it kind of was like,
Yeah.
it didn't stall out completely, but it just wasn't like those
Plateaued.
below deck episodes were so damn good.
It plateaued, it peaked early, like, but yeah, yeah, so what else was I saying? That was the episode, we loved it. Last 2 things before I make Ryan do a quick 10-minute Patreon episode for Patreon at patreon.com/Bravo While Black. Um, I did not go to any shows recently at the Broward Center for Performing Arts because I have a funny story, like, there was this one show called Alanis, like, I know who Alanis
Oh,
Morissette
Jagged
is,
Little
but
Pill.
yeah, Jagged Little Pill came, and I had the opportunity to go, but I don't really know, me nor Aaron know Alanis like that. Like, if it was Avril
Oh,
Lavigne, we would've went, but
y-
we were like, Alanis, so she has 2 songs that we know, so we were like, "Oh, we're gonna skip this one." But I heard that Jagged Little
I think it's
Pill
a
was
mistake. It's supposed
actually
to be
a
pretty good. Yeah.
yeah, is actually pretty good. And throughout the summer they have a camp there. We found out the hard way. Shrek Junior. They have theater camp at the Broward
Hmm.
Center for the Performing Arts. Me and Aaron were going to go to a Shrek Junior production because we thought that it was a prequel to Shrek. And they told
It's
us, like, "Are you
Shrek for
guys
kids.
sure?" Yeah,
Yeah.
they were like, "It's Shrek for kids." So me and him were like, "Oh, we'll just stay home." But the Broward Center is still in partnership with Bravo While Black. I want you guys to go to the Broward Center, go to your local theater, whether that is a movie theater, a production, ballet, whatever it is. Seek out the creators in your neighborhood. It's so important. And also, this weekend coming up, the 10th, 11th, and the 12th, Aaron and I and our crew are going to be at SuperCon Fort Lauderdale. This
Oh,
is the
wow.
real, like, big leagues. Basically, this is our version of Comic-Con, and they have some dope guests. The cast of The Defenders is actually going to be there. So that
Oh, wow.
is Daredevil. That's Bullseye.
Jessica
That
Jones.
Jessica Jones, that is Luke Cage, that's Iron Fist. Yes, Iron Fist is going to be there because they're bringing them back to Daredevil. I know that Daredevil Born Again is a very good show that I love. I talked about it a little
They're
bit
filming the
over
new season
here.
right now.
Yep, and Vincent, well, I think Vincent might not be there, but there's gonna be so many, like, voice actors there.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing the voice of Ariel, she's supposed to be there, the voice of Belle from Beauty and the Beast, and, Bam Margera is supposed to be there, which is kind of interesting because he did not go to the premiere of the new Jackass, but his parents went, so I'm like, "What's going on?" I think there's some
He's still
beef.
weird with Johnny Knoxville. Like they still have a weird relationship, and he feels like allegedly he wasn't used to how much he would want to be used in that Jackass movie.
It's just it's hard because, he's been through a lot of stuff. They're always looking for him, but if you wanna find him, he'll be at SuperCon
That's
this
awesome.
weekend. Freaking, the Heart of Dixie Castle, and also Rosario Dawson is gonna be there. So I have 3 costumes that I plan on wearing, and I didn't wanna be because we got a press pass, so thank you so much to SuperCon for giving us a press pass. I don't know what it means, but maybe I'll get to talk to some really famous people, and even if not talk to them, I'll be able to get the good seats. But we
Yeah,
have some group cosplays going on, and I will say I learned the hard way that you're supposed to plan this out like 7 months in advance, and I did this in like 7 days. But you know, stay tuned to that content on the timeline,
that's
and we'll talk
hysterical.
about it when we get back. And make sure that you guys go and hype our videos. When you see me, Ryan, Raven, because I bullied her into doing YouTube videos, your favorite YouTuber who's a small creator. Save your points for small creators, not big creators. They don't need the hype points. We do.
Yeah.
Make sure you hype this video on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to So Bad It's Good with Ryan Bailey, who I will collab with here. Hype his videos too, because it lets the algorithm show more people stuff. I've noticed that, and I have gotten some new listeners that way. So that's a great way to help your favorite small creator. And Ryan, thank you so much for coming to the show. I will
Yeah,
be
I'm glad to
right
talk to you.
back on the Atlanta episode probably
Yeah, next
Tuesday
week.
because I'll be
Yeah.
because I'll be busy on Monday or tuckered out from SuperCon on Monday. So make sure you catch me at So Bad It's Good with Ryan Bailey. And thank you guys. Love ya. Bye.
Bye.